Hey, Meader.
Yes, Nathan.
So, if you were a superpower, what superpower would you be?
The ability to control your digestive tract.
Why?
Because I ruined Christmas.
Oh, God. We need to talk.
Welcome back. So glad you guys could join us. I'm here in Nathan's room. How's it going, Nate?
Doing well.
And Brieann is here. How's it going, B?
It's going.
Glad you guys are here with me. So the topic today, as Nathan proposed, is superpowers. What superpowers would... Okay, let's start with one. What superpower would you have if you could have one?
Like just anyone?
You can have any power you want.
I think I would probably do... I don't want to say invisibility, but yeah, let's go invisibility.
Okay. Any particular reason?
I don't know. Wouldn't have to talk to people because they couldn't see me.
It lends well to your pervy nature as well.
Yeah. Also, it's like, if I needed to get out of work, it'd be easy to slip by people.
Yeah, that works as well. B?
There's so many good ones that come to my mind right now. It's hard to settle, but if I had to pick one right on the spot, it would be the ability to pick up like languages or be able to communicate with anything.
Oh, there you go. So you're talking like outside of just like human language.
Yeah, animals, plants, anything. Being able to just instantly pick up that knowledge when in contact with it.
So you know how to communicate with anything.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. I would want to be able to... nobody would be allowed to lie to me. It would be impossible to lie to me. Either I would be able to detect your lie, or I'd be able to force you to tell the truth. Anything along those lines.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because it sounds like that would be like not a superpower, but like something that happen. Like it wouldn't be something you would do, but in that case, in the way you phrase it, sounds a little better. It's like you can catch them out, always catch them out, or always get them to fess up.
Now, I imagine that there would be some downsides to having a power like that too, because there are times when you want somebody to lie to you. You don't necessarily want the truth. I mean, not me, but other people are like that. Are there downsides to you guys' powers? Because I want to try and keep this a little bit more realistic.
Well, I'm just thinking a little bit about yours for a second, and it's like white lies. People say white lies are terrible sometimes, but I think they're necessary because you don't always want the full detail. Like telling a white lie is just kind of like I could tell you the full story, but you don't want to hear it. It's going to be a waste of our time, and it's just too complicated and dumb. Like, you're going to start ask more questions you don't really care about. So that would be, I think, a major downfall to yours, is just hearing all the little white lies and their dumb explanations.
I feel like if people knew that you could go invisible, then they would always be on edge, because they would never know if you're right there with them or not, if they frequently are around you. So you would make people feel uncomfortable.
How would they find out I was invisible? I mean,
well, if they knew you had that power.
Yeah, I guess we could find out somehow.
Well, I mean, you might tell them.
Something I would do is I would like go invisible and then go into the bathroom and lock it, and then just to confuse people. People would be like, "Oh, is the bathroom open?" "Oh, yeah, it is." And then, but it's locked. Someone's in there. I didn't see anyone go in there, and I'd just be that person who sneaks in there without you seeing.
You would mildly inconvenience people with full bladders. That is a superhero right there.
But what if you got stuck? Like, what if how you went invisible, you decided, oh, I'm just going to shut off my emotions and just go invisible, and then all of a sudden, like, when you need to become visible again, you can't. What if you get stuck?
Would you cover yourself in flour?
I mean, I think I would... What would I do if I got stuck invisible? I mean, I could probably still just be online, play video games. I could do things.
you would just be an online presence.
Oh.
So would you have a physical form still? Like, would if somebody threw flour at you, they could see you because the flour would hit you, or would you be completely permeable as well?
Oh, yeah.
Well, as far as like being invisible goes, I would assume you'd still be permeable, you'd still be solid. But if you wanted to get like super like crazy, you could say maybe I start turning more and more into like this kind of ghost type thing. Like I keep losing like my solidity,
Your existence.
and then I just become a soul, and this is how all souls are born into the world.
Now, with being able to communicate, wow, that was really deep.
Yeah.
With being able to communicate with everything, there's science that proposes that nature, like trees and plants, can communicate with each other. I feel like if you could understand what everything was saying at all times, it would never be quiet.
Right. I was just thinking that, like, constant noise in my head. Like, if I would have to become like, is it Daredevil that had to sleep like in the water just so it didn't affect him? I would have to do something along that lines if I ever needed to like decompress or relax or even just go to bed. I would just be hearing things. And that's a huge downfall for me because I'm easily distracted.
Let's take a little step here and make this a little bit more realistic. So I want to know what power you would have that could actually be a power, and obviously, like it has to have a negative side too. Like we just talked about the possible negatives of these powers, and I'm putting a lot of rules here, and I want to know how you got this power. Was it something you were born with? Is it Maybelline?
I don't know why, but that made me so hard.
You were not expecting that joke. 1998 just came flying back at you.
Smacked me in the face.
I mean, I can't come up with one that's like realistic. I mean, maybe it's realistic for me, but maybe it's something like I have a shit memory with like quotes and stuff. But maybe my superpower would be like being able to remember like exact quotes from movies, but they're all movies that nobody else remembers.
Wait.
So your brain naturally and this is, with the superpower, your brain is just naturally able to remember quotes specifically.
Yeah.
But only quotes of things that nobody else remembers.
Yeah.
Or quotes of things that people always misremember. So you're quoting it perfectly. You are, but they are insisting that you're wrong because they remember it different.
Oh, God. And then just like that fucking guy is like, oh, actually, this is the real quote. This is what he actually said.
Actually, he never technically said, "I am your father."
Oh, my. Oh, boy.
There are people kind of like that who have really obscure knowledge of these fucking movies, and they're like, oh, that's actually what happened. This is what happened in that movie. It's like, you really watched that movie? You're really paying attention? Okay.
Nobody watched Land Before Time 11, okay?
My brother did.
Well, yeah, but does he remember every quote?
Probably not. I mean, I know it featured Littlefoot. He could probably tell you that.
Oh, boy. Brieann, anything?
Well, it's kind of like Nate's, but not really. It's nothing with quotes, really. But being able to like pick up on things like Sherlock Holmes does. He's able to pick up on things and piece it together because he looks and notices the little things, and it sticks with him. I think that would be a really, really cool thing and a crappy thing to have as well. But
hyper awareness mixed with an extremely good ability to deduce.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So what would be bad about that?
Oh, well,
how about this? Somebody, like, let's say that your significant other is cheating on you, and you're able to pick that out like instantly because you just know. I mean, that would ultimately be a good thing, but
the emotional impact or or even causing that upon someone else, like close to you, or
Oh, like you see, like your dad's significant other, like your mom is cheating on your dad, or vice versa, and you're able to like tell. Now you're stuck with the moral dilemma of, do I tell him? Do I not?
Right.
What if I'm wrong, but you're not?
And
I don't have any real proof. All I have is all of these things that I know make sense.
Right.
Wow.
Right. Just a huge impact on, yeah. Yeah. Just blew my mind.
So Nate wants to be a hyper nerd, and Brieann wants to be Sherlock Holmes.
Actually, to add something onto the Sherlock Holmes things, the actual author of the book, he was a very intelligent man. I haven't actually read the books, but he's very intelligent, very like scientific and skeptical. But what happened to him is that he saw these photos of fairies, I believe. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure they were fairies, and he looked at these photos and he came to the conclusion that there's no other possible way this is like absolute proof that fairies exist. So he concluded right there that fairies exist, and then like not too much later he found out it was a hoax. And so he had this kind of like logical detective kind of reasoning, and it led him down to this kind of dumb path.
Arthur Conan Doyle? Is that the author?
I don't know.
Anyway.
So what I'm alluding to there is that part of the issue with this deductive reasoning is might lead down all these like stray paths and be like, oh, the only conclusion here could be this, and it's like, no, that's dumb.
Right.
If Sir Arthur Conan Doyle did not write Sherlock Holmes, I will buy you a Baconator, Nate.
Okay.
So my superpower would be the ability to always see like what someone truly looks like. So like if a girl's wearing like a whole bunch of makeup or has like a Snapchat filter on, you see through it and you see what they really look like.
Oh God.
But this would be such a curse because you could never enjoy a clown or a mime or go to the fair and have face painting. You would never see the face paint. You're like, no, I'm sorry, I don't see face paint.
Oh my gosh.
Like Halloween would just be just normal day for you?
Every day. Halloween is just a normal day. Well, you can't see through a mask, but anything like I don't know, how would that work? Like, I'm imagining you have the ability to like see past like minor things that are on somebody's face, like.
So like when people do their face and they're doing those contour lines with all that makeup to really make like their cheeks pop, their cheekbones pop or anything like that, that goes away basically.
Exactly. Like you see past it. Like,
right.
Like you're like, oh yeah, I see that they have the contour lines there, but really this is like, I see the real thing. Versus when somebody does that and they're really good at it, you can't tell like what they're really like under there. All you can tell is what is painted on.
Mm-hmm. Now, would you be able to see Photoshop?
Now, that would be tricky. It would depend how far they go into Photoshop. Now, if it's a simple effect, my mind would be able to deconstruct whatever the effect was. Like, let's say the effect was to warp the face in a swirl, like very minor, so their face was just kind of distorted, like somebody was faking a ghost photo or something. I would be able to undistort the face and know exactly what it really looks like. But now if it's something crazy, like they scribble over the entire face, I can't see through scribbles. I can only deconstruct as long as the original thing is still there somewhere.
Now, let's say there was a gang of clowns who would go robbing banks. You would be the person to call.
I would be the person to call. I'm the clown buster.
Oh boy.
I would love to hear what other people come up with for ridiculous superpowers that have good sides and bad sides. Maybe they're ones that people probably really have. I feel like people probably really have each of the powers we just talked about right now. Especially the one about being able to maintain your sphincter perfectly.
I think the ability to get like an erection whenever you want, but never when you want it would be like never when you need it.
Okay.
So like anytime you want, you can pop a boner, but the second you need to pop a boner, you can't.
Not necessarily that you can't, but you can't control it in that moment.
gosh.
That would be like the most frustrating thing in the world. You're like, I just did this last night by myself.
Like it could happen. You're not quite sure, but yeah, like any other time, I could pop one like right now.
It's not you. It's the kryptonite necklace you're wearing. This never happens, I swear. The inability to feel temperature would be kind of cool. I mean, it would be a curse at the same time, but like never like having to feel like cold and shivering, or never feeling like way too hot and you're sweating your balls off. You'd be able to pick up pans like
Isn't that
they're nothing.
Yeah, but isn't that like your body's reacting to whatever is causing that effect, rather, and it's usually a warning sign towards something bigger?
Yeah, people who don't have a sense of pain, I'm pretty sure like extreme heat, extreme cold are triggering the pain sensor. So I think we talked about this in one episode.
Yeah, this feels...
Yeah, but it's triggering this sensation of pain, and it causes like the reaction. You know, like, oh, drop it, right? And if you don't have that sense,
you can get into some trouble.
Yeah, but then again, if it's like mild, like say, you know, like it always feels like it's 60 degrees, or no, it's like 68 degrees. 60 feels warm now, but you know, that might be kind of nice.
What about being able to regenerate? Like, not necessarily be able to die unless, like, well, even then, I was going to say being decapitated, but you could regenerate over time and lose a sense of yourself. Like, you can watch yourself die if someone decapitated you and just made you, this is an anime, I'm taking this off them. But, like, if they decapitate you and make you watch yourself die and then reform yourself again.
Hellsing?
Nope. Tokyo Ghoul?
Yeah, that's a zombies one. Or
is that... No, Asian, sorry.
I mean, in a way, we already kind of regenerate. Like, in what kind of way? Like, you chop off your head and grow back?
Yeah, like, or Deadpool style. You cut off your arm. It'll come back.
Oh, yeah, baby arm.
Baby arm.
Yeah. Baby high five.
Yeah.
I didn't see that movie.
We have to.
Well, there's a nice scene with a strip club. You should watch it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is giving me a lot to think about. I'm never gonna look at clowns the same.
So, viewers, if you have any superpowers you would like to kind of let us know about, you can get at us at facebook.com/WeNeedToTalkShow.
Or you can always tweet us if you have super tweet powers at WNTT1. And official announcement, we're going to be on TPC Network, which is Canadian-based. We aren't Canadian, but we're apparently good enough to be on there. And if you haven't listened to the episode of WTF, What's the Finish, with Brieann Langell and Rockstar Chris Cole that we were on, you should seriously listen to it, because it might be the best episode of our show we've ever done, and it was their show.
And also, in commemoration of being accepted onto that podcast network, what we have done is we have gone full Canadian. We have been taking our milk and dumping it into bags.
And we've been taking all of our tree leaves and cutting them into having points.
That's kind of dumb.
Well, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta prove you're Canadian. Yeah. Staple them onto your chest, just like a real Canadian.
Okay, this is going too far. Steve, I think we need to talk.
I changed out all of my shampoo with maple syrup.
Okay, now we really fucking need to talk.
And now, coming to the ring, weighing in at 375 pounds, a small bear.
Aww.